7 o'clock hour. And you know, we always turn to Fox 26 Senior Legal Analyst Chris Tritico for all of your expertise. Appreciate you here.
Thank you. Good morning.
So let's talk about this first question. This is from Deborah, who writes, I own a townhome. I am responsible for maintenance and repairs on the inside while the HOA handles the outside. There is a big oak tree outside of my home. The trees grew roots, grew underneath my home, and affected my plumbing system. I had to pay the plumber to do the repairs. They used a jackhammer on my floors and dug a massive hole under my home to get the roots. The HOA refused to accept responsibility because the damage was inside my townhome. Should the HOA have to pay since the tree is their responsibility and it grew underneath my townhome?
Deborah, maybe is the answer to that. It depends on what the homeowner's rules and regulations say, and you need to pull those out, look at the bylaws and the rules, and see what you agreed to and see what they agreed to. You have a decent argument that I wouldn't have had the problems inside of my home had you taken care of the tree outside of my home. So that may be a good argument, but it all depends again on what their rules and regulations say and what they agreed to do. And so get that out and look at it. If you need to, take it to the lawyer of your choice who handles these types of HOA matters, who can give you some advice in private. Good luck.
All right, our next question comes from Carlos, who writes, could a city face a lawsuit for negligence if it doesn't enforce laws requiring driver's license and insurance? Particularly, we're talking in cases where an undocumented person is involved in at-fault accidents. Can the dealership or insurance company be held responsible for not obtaining proper documentation when selling a new car?
Carlos, so we find out about people who are driving without insurance after the fact. The police can't just pull people over randomly and say, let me see your insurance. They have to have probable cause to stop someone. And usually we find out when they've been stopped for speeding, running a red light, or an accident or something like that. Then we find out they don't have insurance. It's not that the state is not enforcing the law. It's a law that we only find out about at the end. Now, a dealership cannot ask someone for documentation if they're documented. They're not allowed to. When they sell a car, they get driver's license and they get insurance. The law in Texas, unfortunately, will allow someone to buy a 30-day policy, buy the car, and then let it lapse. That's not the dealership's fault. It's not the city of Houston's fault. Good luck.
All right. Final question this morning comes from Tony, who writes, last year I paid a tax guy $325 to file my 2021 taxes. I recently found out they never got filed. I had hired someone else and paid another steep fee. Do I have legal grounds against the first guy?
Tony, you absolutely do. The first guy committed an act of negligence and what we would call malpractice. You paid him to do a job and he took your money, but he didn't do the job. Yes, you can sue him for that. I'm glad you got your taxes filed. Your measure of damages is what you paid the first guy that he didn't do and the difference, especially if you owe money on a late filing. All of that is a part of your measure of damages. Because it was only $325, you can do it in JP court by yourself if you want to. If you do that, put on there that you want your attorney's fees just in case you have to hire a lawyer later. Good luck.
All right, we always appreciate you and your expertise.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week.
You bet.
So if you want to send us your legal questions, if you have any issues, just hop on our website, fox26houston.com. You can always find Chris's segments under the Morning News tab. And as always, for specific information and advice, contact an attorney of your choice. Mel.